Hi, and welcome to another episode of In the Kitchen with Chef Leo. Of course, I'm your guy, Chef Leo, and I'm here. So today I'm going to prepare a good old chicken, sausage, and shrimp gumbo. Okay, gumbo is something that is the African word for okra because we use okra in the dish to help thicken it a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First things first, we got our cast iron Dutch oven on the stove getting hot. First thing we're going to cook off is our sausage. We're going to let our sausages cook up, get nice and brown, and then we're going to go with after that we're going to add our roux. Now I prepared my roux earlier on today because I wanted to make sure I was able to get the right color. You want to make sure your roux has a nice chocolate color once you prepare it, because that's going to help with flavoring the gumbo and making sure the gumbo is nice and rich. Got my Dutch oven pan is hot. We're going to go ahead and add our sausage to the pan. Gonna get it nice and let it cook. Now, gumbo is what we call a one-pot meal. With it being a one-pot meal, that's everything is cooked right inside the same entire pot, okay? The whole time we're cooking this dish, everything goes right in there. You just take it out, then you add the next ingredient. I'm gonna brown the sausage up real good, and then after that, I'm gonna add in my roux and then my vegetables. The chicken, basically roasted it off and I shred it. Now you can do your chicken any type of way you want. You can dice it up into small pieces, but I use this shredded chicken. As my sausage is cooking, you can take this time to prepare your vegetables. So in this dish itself, we're gonna have diced onions, diced peppers, celery, garlic, crushed tomatoes, and then we're gonna add some green onions and parsley. And then of course your okra. Gumbo is known for being in the Louisiana area. As the French came in to colonize Louisiana, there were a lot of things that they brought. Roux, for example, is a French word, okay? But gumbo, like I said, gumbo is the African word for okra. Okra is one of the key ingredients. But some people don't use okra. I like to use okra in my gumbo because it adds an extra layer of flavor and richness to it. But some people don't use okra and they add what we call a filet powder. The filet powder is basically ground up saffron flour, and they use that as a thickening agent. I sometimes use it. It depends on who I'm making it for, but I traditionally would prefer to just add my okra because I love okra. My grandmother in the country in South Carolina, she used to actually grow okra. So I used to go out in the garden with her, and she used to always we used to pick our okra. She grew cucumbers and collards and tomatoes and all that stuff. You know, that's why I fell in love with okra. Sausage is basically ready. Gonna pull that sausage out. Now to this pan, I'm gonna add, get some of that stuff out. I'm gonna add my roux. So you add your roux. And to this roux, I'm gonna add my peppers, onions, celery, and this is gonna cook up. And my garlic. Just like that, okay? To this pot, I'm gonna add my seasoning. Creole seasoning. But I'm also gonna add a little bit of Old Bay, just to spice it up a little bit. I'm also gonna add some smoked paprika, add a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder. To this, I'm gonna add my very own all-purpose seasoning. Let this cook up. Now to this, I'm going to add tomatoes. Now I'm going to add 6 cups of chicken broth. And my couple of sprigs of thyme. Sprigs, I'll just pick them out later. So basically, I want the flavor of all of it in there. I'm gonna add 2 bay leaves, flavor profile, ground pepper, and I'm gonna let it simmer for a few minutes. Then I'm gonna add back in my sausage and my chicken. And then I'm gonna let it simmer for about 35 minutes. As it simmers for about 35 minutes, then I'm gonna add into it. Let's go ahead and add my sausage in. Let's add the chicken. I'm gonna taste for flavor and seasoning. Oh yes. Ooh, that's good. Now, almost forgot one thing. A spoon of chicken powder. It's a nice warm dish that we're gonna eat with some cornbread, and we're gonna eat with some white rice, okay? So now that we got everything in our pot, I'm gonna put my lid on and we're gonna let it simmer. We're gonna let it cook. Let it cook on medium heat for about 30 minutes. Then we'll come back and add the rest of our ingredients. Let's take a look at it. See how that's starting to come together and cook up. Now, once I add my okra, it's gonna actually thicken it some, okay? Because the roux, because the type of roux it is, it doesn't, and you use so much liquid, it doesn't thicken it how you want it to thicken. But you can smell, man, this smells amazing. Oh my God, it smells so good. Can't wait to try it out. All right, now what I'm gonna do at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my okra. And that'll be right on top. So it can start to thicken. Yes, you see how that is? Yes, just like that. That's how it's gonna do. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let this simmer again for another 10-15 minutes. Okay, now to this, I'm gonna go ahead and add my shrimp and my onions and parsley. So I'm gonna add my shrimp to this, just like so. Put it in there. Add my green onions, parsley. Stir, just like so. Turn down the medium low heat, and we're gonna let that cook. Okay. The cornbread in the oven. I got my. I'm gonna add my shrimp and the last final ingredients to my gumbo. So rice is done. So everything will be up and ready to plate in just a few moments. So now we got all of our dishes and everything ready, and it's time to plate up our food. We got our good old cornbread here. We got our chicken, shrimp, and sausage gumbo ready to go. Look at this. This looks so delicious. Look at that. Just look at that. Yes, I know I still got my bay leaf in it, but I ain't gonna put that on nobody's plate and just let it sit in there so it can, the flavor can still soak up and soak in there real good. So I'm about to plate this up. Now, traditional gumbo is always served with white rice, so I had white rice going. So let's go ahead and get this plate up. Got my rice. Gonna plate up my rice. You don't need a lot. So I'm actually gonna make this nice and neat for you. Take that, put that in the middle of our plate. Just like that. Yes. White rice, you can't go wrong. Middle of our plate. All right. Then we're gonna go ahead right around with our gumbo. Right on there. Just like so. Green peppers, parsley, and she is ready to go. Cornbread, 2. There we go. And that is our chicken and sausage gumbo with our nice skillet cornbread. Thank you, family, for joining into my kitchen. I'm Chef Leo, and I'm signing out. See you next time.